oversized t-shirt and it's tight as fuck.
Did you get that mother care?
What have you been eating?
Fuck, did you get that?
Mother care.
Fuck is wrong
I
with
don't
you?
think he'd be allowed in mother. I think they'd throw him out.
Push up,
Hashtag
what the
diabetes.
Fuck is wrong with you? What's it say?
Fuck
Fuck
that.
die. Oh, fuck die.
Fuck die.
There you go. Don't
Fuck
talk
live,
about
die.
that.
Yeah, we're not talking
Before
about
fucking
that.
forget.
Who's that?
Got text there.
Okay.
One kid done 110 today. Yeah, that's under 80.
Richard Duncan.
Yeah. So he has like 15 years old, blah blah blah. So I asked like what the weight because he didn't have on the post. You know what I mean? So puts the weight on. So okay, I'll gotta maybe has to go on the board and shit like that. So sends me text after. So like, oh yeah, by the way, when I was joining in, I gave fake fucking
Fake age.
fake age. You know, I was 14, but I really wanted to go to the gym. I was like,
And what did he lift?
110 benched.
At 14?
At 15 now.
Benched
Now
it?
15, yeah.
Fucking shit.
Videos on fucking Instagram.
Oh, sorry, Benson.
Did you just tell him straight away that you're barred?
I just, dude, I had to laugh. Now, if you
By the way,
He's opening the lab. Oh, come in.
you
Human
want,
potential.
you
That
want to
lab
come
is open.
over at 214, that belly, you fucking gonna lie. No, first of all,
It's gonna be like
I
Icarus
know
in
who
here.
didn't check fucking ID last year. Well, that doesn't matter. They're not here anymore. For similar reasons, maybe, you know, you never know.
Just a
But-
fake ID, like a really shit fake ID. Like.
Yeah.
Just big finger.
It was fucking,
Nothing like him.
drawn with a marker. Like,
Who was the
age
guy that
isn't
did
even
the fake
changed.
ID in your school? Who's the guy that did the fake ID in your school? Our guy was Bucko. Who was there's always a fake
I don't
ID
know
guy.
I don't know if it was in
Bucko from
school.
Ballymun
There
used to
was.
do fake
Like,
ID.
people get a fake
Brilliant.
ID.
Bucko. Yeah. Bucko. You'd be shitting yourself going up asking him because you got a cunt's like
it's actually like,
fuck.
pretty sure it was my brother who did it in his school. Yeah.
now we had like, we're buying beer in one of the metal fucking concert there. And I came with
You got ID again?
3 guys, yeah. All of them. One was 1 year old, the other one's 2 years old, you know what I mean? And we asked for, I think, 8 pints or 10 pints, something like that. Like, anyway, so we ordering in proper, like a pub, let's say.
Yeah.
So handles the money, yeah. She brings over all the things there, like all the fucking tankers there, gives the change, and goes to me like, next time don't come over with those children here. I was like, excuse me? Yeah, you hear me. Take that beer, come alone, pay, don't bring them in. Okay, thank you. Walked over, said there like, what the fuck just happened? I'm the youngest. I mean, she said like, don't bring
the
fucking-
meanest.
That's.
Actually about gym stories, from last week. Good
I
one.
think if he shaved him, what would he look like? He'd look about 12, would he? Probably fucking.
Oh, yeah.
Videos on YouTube.
I have videos
of
there.
you,
No.
you're shaving.
Oops,
I've
fucking-
never seen it. I was like, I can't remember what he looked like.
Yeah, man, I was fucking bad. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but bad. No, you know what the worst is? If you go now straight now to fucking this.
Oh, yeah.
gone. That's the worst.
That's a problem, isn't it?
Because if you never have it, people don't know. But like,
Not even that, but like on yourself, like you take it off. You know what? Like first time I fucking shaved everything, yeah. What happened there? was I went with a trimmer, yeah, and then just fucking with a razor. After washed up, look in the mirror.
Who's
And
your
I
man?
actually, no, actually, what? I'm alone. Nobody fucking there. And I was like, the fuck? That's what I said.
We've seen
Why
Pink
did
Floyd
you
The Wall. Have you?
do
like,
this?
We've seen Pink
Jesus.
Floyd The Wall.
I got pissed, so pissed, yeah. I was avoiding mirror for about 2 weeks.
Like a big baby.
Coming over,
Fucking baby.
shower. I don't even look straight there. Washed up, gone. I won't fucking look at all.
serious?
Jesus was pissed off.
Why did you do it?
I don't know. Can't even remember. I mean, there's bad stories there. I mean, not the bad story, but there's under 018 stories.
You're getting followed. You're getting followed by some
No,
fucking...
but it was like, it was really bad. No, back to the gym stories, yeah?
Tell us.
So, this person sends the email asking the price for weeks, what we don't do, yeah? Let's say we have month, week, 10 weeks we can do, and 3 months, and so on, yeah? So I asked somewhere in between. I don't want to give details because it'll be, what you're talking about anyway. So, give a price. That was on Facebook. Gave a price. Oh, sure, I'm gonna come over, blah, blah, blah. Comes in after a few days. Asks in reception, can she kind of look around? Looks around, disappears for a while. After 20 minutes, hitting the weights. So, anybody who's the reception is like, I'm like, oh, hold on,
Is it free in here now?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Free to train. That's what it says.
Free to train.
When you powerlift is free, that's the word now out in the street. You know what I mean? It's like,
fair enough.
what, like, so, he comes always like, what's going on? Like, are you staying? You have to pay, like, you just cannot, like, what are you doing? Are you trying to fucking smash?
Stop fucking uptight for?
What the fuck?
Money.
Then the best part is,
What are you trying to do? Run a business? What is this?
yeah, what you doing?
What is this?
So next thing, goes back in the change room, changes, leaves the gym. On the way out, say like, so the guy says like, what's up, kind of way, you know what I mean? So, oh yeah, I might be back on Monday, so I don't want to pay today, and it's Thursday or Friday, whatever. And then like only coming back on Monday, so I don't want to lose these days. Like, what? So pay for a day, pay for a month, whatever, doesn't matter. You really want to train or what? You know what I mean? So, when you check the profile, what's going on.
Go on, tell me.
It's not
on
that
Facebook. Explain this
profile. It looks like it's getting out of hand with these powerlifters now, yeah? It's as bad as was 3 years ago about
make air
CrossFit.
quotes.
Yeah. Because most of them, powerlifters, you know what I mean? Same like,
the air quotes.
you call yourself powerlifter? Because we did 2 meets, like I'm not even full meets. I can't fucking call myself ever powerlifter, and I'm not fucking planning, and I never will probably, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? And then like, it's always green light for everything. It looks like actually gets worse. But remember like 3-4 years ago, CrossFitters kicked in here? All the gear on. Spent probably $1,000 on the gear, still cannot lift. And has like this fucking voucher for 10 sessions any chiropractor.
He made. That's what he made. That's how he made.
That's how you have that fucking brand new beam outside, no?
Vintage. I caught someone doing CrossFit in here last week, and I'm not going to say his name. You know who it was. It was someone doing CrossFit, doing those fucking pull-ups in here last week.
What?
Yes. He was just bashing his head off there. So what is bashing?
But he's not alive anymore, no?
That's what I told him. I said, "That's not, you can't do that."
He left this world. I think he left this world.
He went for a dirt nap.
He knows who he is.
I only saw that one. I actually thought that was brilliant. Dirt nap.
Can you guys
go
through the gym fails? But can you discuss them, or you get sued?
Oh shit! See that dent?
Oh yeah. Well, that's nice.
I have a video. Who did it? That's the worst shit ever.
That's very high up.
Yep.
That's not an Olympic lifting.
Nope.
That's not a lifting platform.
Nope.
Nope.
Log lift.
Of course.
There's a master log lifter.
Yes.
Who's also anymore here. Real small dick syndrome fucking classic case. So dude, that was like I fucking rocked.
The dick or the lift or the
everything.
So ran tests. We ran tests and it confirmed.
I fucking the last rock there doing squats. Just rocked like a fucking in the film. Just rock, turn around, all I see log like that going backwards.
Nice.
I was like, shit. It's like, then
where does that go then when you hit the...
That's the thing, dude. That hits the wall.
Yeah. It's a cartoon, isn't it?
Hits the wall and stands there. Mario said, Baldy, do lunges like, drops the bar running in.
How do you spot that?
When nothing. All you can do like is go like that. You know what I mean? Didn't delete that video. Still have fucking from CCTV.
You have a Wile E. Coyote.
One day gonna fucking put down. That was like, I was like, oh my god, it's like.
The majority of the accidents have happened with log lift, because that's like, that was me, my blood in the wall there somewhere. But that was it. I went up, blacked out, fell back, log went forward, came down, cracked my hip, rolled back and hit me in the head.
Full on.
That's a real fake.
Oh, is that what happened to you? Were you being a...
It's like,
Oh, blacked out, was
Excuse
this?
me, I have to feign fucking empathy all day. Don't fucking stretch me. It's late. The fuck is wrong with you? Jesus Christ, you're pushing my fucking acting skills here. I don't have his performance skills.
For those of you joining us by video, you'll notice that we have Terry back again, Terry Crews, and he's here to give us any more.
Back shit. As Terry Crews does.
Not really, no. Not really, Bob. No, I need to talk to Dr. Heisenberg if I want to do that, but it's not happening for me. It's not going to 42. I'm not getting there at all.
Benching more.
I need to,
Loads more.
what do I need to do? Some of them declines. And then I need to leave the plates on when I'm finished.
Yeah, but and you make sure you put on machines helico plates.
You need helico plates in the machines.
They need to be calibrated,
right?
yeah.
Otherwise,
very
the
important.
mechanism isn't.
So then your muscles are calibrated.
Yeah.
I think that's a fucking
Symmetry,
excellent point.
you know?
That's an excellent point.
Hey, you want to be sure like both hands can be used similar way, same strength,
It's functional.
functional.
It's functional. I think that's the
Functional
point.
usage.
We want functional, and it prevents injuries. And
So you can double punch.
Sure, it
tennis
does.
elbow and
Tennis elbow as well. Carpal tunnel as well.
Are we talking about injuries
Depends
today?
on which hand.
Are we talking about,
Yeah.
talking about
Is
injuries?
that
Well,
a-
yeah.
is
Well,
that
one of the
a
things
segue?
actually that
I wanted to just bring up is this. Now, it might be simple for people who know about anatomy and everything like that, or in terms of training, that when you are training, your muscles increase in size as you train, but the thing that doesn't increase in size is your tendons and ligaments and your dick. The one thing is your pick. I love that he's used.
Oh, really?
Use it.
He's got some pictures of his dick through the years there on his
I
Instagram.
was only-
Biceps bigger, dick no.
That was ass photo, so I couldn't really comment on this. I just I got confused. You know?
What's his name? I just said it's a personal. It is.
Johnny Bravo.
So, but like the big thing is that as people muscles grow, start to push themselves harder. The tendons haven't grown, and they make that mistake that they can keep going and going and pushing and pushing and pushing, and then they risk injury. Then on that side of things,
Yeah, and do you know something? All the answers I'm ever going to give to any questions you
Are
ask
exactly the
about
same.
injuries are exactly the same, and they are about gradual loading and not sudden increases in loading.
I thought you were gonna say you were a pussy first of all.
You're a fucking pussy.
Yeah, okay.
You're not a pussy. When you got them pictures of them fucking, I don't know where you got them. You went to some dangerous clubs to get those pictures. You're not a
put that
fucking
phone in
pussy.
my
You're a
pocket.
brave fucking man. You're
Put it on the other
yeah.
side there.
Fuck that. No, basically what we're looking at is this, yeah. Tendons take longer to adapt. They're not as vascular. They're made out of collagen, different types, type 1, type 2, type 3 collagen. They take longer to adapt, longer to lay down. They're like the stuff that's in your ear, almost that kind of that kind of material. So it's not as vascular, and it's difficult for it to lay down. So it takes longer for it to heal. If you get an irritation to it, it could take longer for it to settle down, and for sure. Now, having said that, I'd like to know from you guys, is it a thing that you see more in, what's the term used for someone taking the shit? Is it, just stop that for a second, is it enhanced, what do you say, supplements, is it? What's the euphemism used for someone taking all the shit, like?
Enhancers.
Enhancers, is it? Enhancer.
He eats his spinach, is what we'll say.
A lad that eats the spinach, or a girl that eats the spinach, right? Because I wonder, is it a thing if they're full of the juice and all that shit, that they'll be putting on
Fruit juice,
strength? Yeah, exactly. That they'll be increasing their volume or their intensity or both quite a lot in a big jump, because it is something. It's not something I see clinically as much in a non-juicing lifter. And is it that you're exposed to the sudden increase in volume or in intensity much more, in weights, in loads, in the amount of sets you're going to do, whatever, the amount of frequency you're doing in a week even, that you're more likely to get a tendinopathy, or something. Tendinopathy is what we call a tendonitis now. If someone calls it a tendonitis, you know that you're working with someone from the 70s. It's a fucking time warp.
I say tendonitis like I don't know what.
That's all right. It's not your job, to. I can't do. You know what I mean? That's okay for you to say. But if you go into a clinician, some kind of physio, chiropractor, doctor, or whatever, and they say tendonitis, either they're speaking in a language that they hope you'll understand, or they don't know that they're living in the 70s. It'd be like you went in and you see it is a doctor there and he's wearing
Get on the table.
no, you've got no hole in this one. You can't check it. But can you imagine you went into your doctor and he's wearing a Bay City Rollers outfit with the flares and the tartan and all the shit, and you go, yeah, that was fucking really cool once. In the 70s, that was really cool. Now we're not. But basically, the sudden increase in load, is that something you guys see more in someone that's on the juice, that's doing a cycle?
Well, what I thought it was more so to do with someone increasing weight. So in terms of powerlifting, people are going in for more strength aspects.
Yes, that makes
so
sense.
they would have more pressure on the joints, existing like from, say, if somebody's
there's
on
more
the bench,
tension
that
on the
is thrown
tendon.
into exactly,
Yeah, for sure.
So maybe the muscle density isn't, not the same for like hypertrophy or anything like that. That they're kind of working out the joints, keeping them limber. That it's a forced load. That was kind of I see a lot of people who are starting training will start to go, I feel it in my elbows, I'm feeling it in my knees, and all this kind of thing. Like, I think I've hurt my knee, and the majority of the time it's just as inflammation in the knee, that kind of way.
That's a really excellent point, because it's quite a difference between having an injury in your knee, and we're back to the psychosocial bit and the psychological part of having an injured knee or an injury in your knee, which is, oh my God, I'll never get rid of this now, is where people spiral with that, and actually having an irritated tendon. which can be incredibly sore. It can be much more. You can have really bad arthritis in your knee and never have a day's pain with it. If you look at the normal data for people, there's a study from America, a Framingham study, where the MRI'd a load of healthy knees and a load of unhealthy knees, people in pain, people not in pain. And pretty much you got about a third of the people with knee pain have severe degeneration in the knee, about a third of them have mild to moderate degeneration in the knee, and about a third of them have no degeneration in the knee, but they've got knee pain. If you look at the people without knee pain, guess what you find? Roughly the same. About a third of them have severe degeneration in the knee.
Would that be genetically, like, or, you know?
Yeah, this genetic component, it looks like there's a genetic component to it as well. It's not changed by activity, so if you like going running or you like lifting weights. And in fact, lifting stuff is the treatment of choice for, if someone does have knee arthritis, doing quad strengthening is the treatment of choice. If we synthesize all the evidence, take it all into one big study, you see, okay, the recommendation would be, yeah, we need to strengthen your quads and strengthen your hip muscles to a lesser extent, for sure, and do open and closed chain movements to do that. This is called a gym, right? You have machines that do that kind of stuff and barbells, and you know. So training is good for it. Just to get back onto the point, then, that it's quite a different thing. If you understand that you can have a really irritated tendon, it can be really, really sore and not very injured. And usually the very painful injuries called a reactive tendinopathy, which is a reaction to a sudden increase in loading. And what you're saying makes a lot of sense. Now, normally, if someone describes this when they discuss it in the scientific literature, it'd be like this. And I'm robbing this analogy from Jill Cook, who's a researcher in the area. So if you're playing basketball 3 days a week as a teenager, you don't get a sore knee. Your body's adapted to doing that many layups, that many, jumps and all that kind of stuff, and a bit of plyometrics during the week. You don't get too much irritation in your patellar tendon in the front of your knee. No problem. Now summer comes around, you go basketball camp. Now we're going to play 4 hours a day. Suddenly we've got a big increase in load, and it's a plyometric load. And under that load, if you look at a tendon under a microscope, it's like a crimp. It's like the outside of a climbing rope where it stores energy like a spring.
Yeah. Right, okay.
So a tendon will actually store energy in it. Now, if you give it a sudden increase in load, so that same small undeveloped tendon has to store that much energy in it, what happens is that'll get the outside of it gets irritated and filled with water. That's the most painful type of tendinopathy. It's fucking really sore. But it doesn't affect the inside of the tendon. You haven't damaged anything inside it. The outside of it is just irritated. Bit of inflammation for the first 24 hours, and after that it's just a reactive, it's tendinopathy. The outside of it is swollen, irritated, it's holding more water.
Like a lot of the time that I have people who say to me, it's like, I have pain here, I have pain there. And I go, okay, where are you feeling it? As in, is it just kind of like a burning sensation? Is it like a bruising? Is it stinging, or have you lost power or anything like that? The majority of the time it always sounds like, what's the new word?
Reactive tendinopathy.
Tendinopathy.
Do you like it? Yeah. That's these views.
Tendinopathy. And the first thing they say, how do I fix it? And I said, take a Nurofen. It's like take an anti-inflammatory. And they're going, oh, well, I don't need to stretch. And I was like, well, that'll help too. But if you want to get rid of the pain, do that. But am I saying the wrong thing to them by saying that to them?
If I said that to them, I could get struck off the register and have to sign on.
Well, I'm not on the register.
As a pharmacist, I think you're saying the right thing. And sorry, Peter, we'll just get you a dose of medication over here. Some of that white powder there for your son. You'd be doing grand there. Where's that 20
It's almost like that. Because I get it just in the front of my knees.
Exactly.
And I was told you're quad dominant. And that's what I always used to be told. I was like, you are.
Is he just not dominant? No, he's just dominant. No, I thought he's dominant. He's dominant.
You're quad dominant, and what that's doing is that is pulling your kneecap, your patella, up this way. This is what I was told, right?
Go on.
And thus it was putting pressure on the patellar tendon underneath because it was stretching. And then when I do this, it's stretching even more. So it's instead of like 100% stretch, it's like going 102%.
Okay, so what quad dominant usually means, and that term is used most widely in, I get so fucking boring. Can we not go back to my drugs and shit now? Jesus Christ. Ibuprofen even. Who knows about that? Okay, so a lot of that comes from the cruciate ligament literature. What we're looking at is, so a simple example for a weightlifting environment is, if you're doing a high bar squat, where your knees are tracking in front of your feet, nothing wrong with that. Olympic lifters train like that all the time, and they gradually adapt to it. Make sense? Yeah. But if you suddenly go from doing, say, a low bar squat where your hips are sitting back and your knee is sitting, if you look side on at the person, the knee is going to be sitting pretty much over the center of their foot or over their ankle or not too far in front of the ankle. That'd be more a hip dominant squat. Yeah. So you're using your hip muscles and that, and your back muscles more to lift the weight, like a classic powerlifting low bar squat, pretty much. Yeah. In your Converse, that kind of thing. Whereas if you put the was that funny?
No, it's funny.
You're just poking at the satire there, Oh no,
Oh
no, that is like Converse is the
What
old
is the
school
classic?
powerlifting,
It's yeah. Oh, that's funny to you.
Well, American,
That's funny. You
like.
find that shit.
Sumo deadlift. Yeah.
The sumo deadlift, which is the
Also
king of deadlifts.
Also funny.
The king of deadlifts.
Well, what I will say
Athletes
is that
deadlift,
these
as we
high
call them.
tops are the same.
You know they call it-
Owen Moore when he broke his world records.
I'd say yours are bigger because Ed Cohen is 4 foot tall.
He's actually
That's sacrilege. Sorry,
That is sacrilege.
That's sacrilege.
We're sorry, Ed.
He's 5
5 foot tall. Sorry, fucking 5 foot tall.
He also has the biggest hands. Fucking hell.
Does he have? Yeah.
Yeah.
Think by his
How would
size,
you know?
yeah.
I'm not gonna.
No, I haven't met the man, unfortunately. But he's done a few seminars. Or did he do? Yeah, he did a seminar over here that was around the same time that Brandon Lilly and Chad Wesley Smith had come over a couple of years ago. And a guy I know went out with him, and that was he actually went. I took a picture because he's of his hands beside Ed Cohen's hands. He's like this bear claws, like
Big fucking.
yeah, for like a man who's like, as you say, he's not that short.
No, he's
the
not
same
really
height as
kidding.
me, you
Yeah.
think.
You're not that. What are you? 5'10"?
I thought you were going to say, what are you, 5'2", 5'3"?
No.
All right.
He is short. He's fucking short. Yeah. He's definitely.
We can just.
Check it out.
You can Google it there.
Check it
We
out,
have
but
we have the Google.
I
Sorry,
think
we've
like
tracked
it's
out we've got
That's
it.
all right. I think that's okay.
and actually on the same subject on the pains.
Now we're
and
getting real distracted.
Oh yeah.
got this one. Yeah, it's on top of the kneecap.
Yes,
here.
that's a sore one, isn't it? Yeah.
pull from nowhere with one leg, yeah, not both, one. And that's like, remember I was saying, actually told you there, like it felt like I did before, once a year, fucking calf raise, but in the Smith machine, and way back, in gold mine there. They didn't have anything.
That's not going to fix your quad
So I
dominance
have,
if you
no, I have,
working your calves once
I have
a year.
the bar like this, yeah, over here.
So you had the bar squeezing the tendon on top of your
Yeah.
kneecap.
So now it's the same, similar pain. Yeah, exactly.
That's
But
called
now-
reflective listening.
Now it's the same pain, yeah, on one.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything pressing on it. Well, I didn't fucking shit even like this, So there's no pressure whatsoever. It's but there.
When you're on Instagram,
Yeah, like that thing, fucking.
elbow is
Yeah, but I normally do like this.
you're sitting there for hours.
I do like this.
You're actually
I
hitting
don't-
all the great points because you were actually a walking tendinopathy a few weeks ago. Before that deadlift off, you were a walking tendinopathy. You were literally a walk. I'm sore here, and you just get the point of tendons where you were sore.
Yeah.
And you had done a lot of explosive stuff, and it was a sudden increase in the intensity that you were lifting because you were trying to peak to get up for that thing. So it was quite. So all the tendons were getting irritated. Now, what they don't like as well is so go back to the quad dominance versus a hip dominance. So the quad dominance is if you do what's that guy's name? Lillybridge. He does a very high bar squat, doesn't he? That pair of Lillybridge. Eric Lillybridge. Is that the guy's name?
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, it's actually pretty high.
Pretty high bar
pretty
squat.
high for.
I'd imagine he
for
keeps his
powerlifting,
back
yeah.
very straight and his
Yeah.
knees tracked forward.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with your knees tracking forward of your toes. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Olympic lifters will lift like that. You do front squat, that'll happen. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're getting an unaccustomed load like that, you are putting an increased load on that tendon.
Right.
So it's not like you're born quad dominant. Quad dominant is literally a movement pattern. Now normally
I got it out of this whole. It's because of weaknesses elsewhere in the body. That like when I would try and sprint faster or try and do like power cleans and everything like that around teenagers.
yeah.
That it was all very. The best way for me to get up was by using a particular movement that put all the weight onto the quads, and that I wasn't utilising my hamstrings or my glutes properly or anything.
That would make sense. Yeah, yeah.
You know.
And is your squat like that? Do you squat very?
I've gone back to high bar squatting now.
Yeah.
But for a long time I was doing low bar squat just because it's kind of. I had no particular.
Because you bought a pair of Converse.
Yeah, man.
You had to do the fucking low
I
bar
actually
squat.
don't
You
have a
can't
pair
do
of
a low bar
Converse.
squat.
There's a few. I've gone. I've
They're
flirted
lovely.
with the
They've
idea
gone
a few
better now,
times,
yeah.
But yeah, no, there was no particular time. It was more so power movements like power cleans and stuff like that we were doing for rugby training,
Yes.
and that's kind of where it came
Yeah.
about.
And they are a quad dominant movement because you have to catch that bar. When you rack
Yeah,
that bar,
yeah.
it's in that position. And you're getting an eccentric load. So we got 3 teams with tendons. We got one of them is this, that you're getting an unaccustomed load that it's not used to. So be it that you're going from doing a low bar squat to doing a high bar squat and you're more load on the kneecap. Sorry, not on the kneecap, on the patellar tendon, the quadriceps tendon there. So that's one. You got that biomechanics gives you an increased load. 2 is we have compression. Now I've never heard a story like that before, but tendons don't like compression. They don't like getting stretched around bone with that tensile load on them, with that tension on them. They'll put up with it, they'll learn how to deal with it, but that tends to irritate them. So if you're doing, for example, you've got an Achilles tendon problem, tendinopathy. I was going to say tendonitis because I was going to say the new set of but an Achilles tendinopathy.
New cereal.
The insertional one down low down in the Achilles where it connects onto the bone there at the back of the heel. and you're doing calf raises below parallel, for example. So as you go below parallel, the bone starts to roll in and compress the tendon cells there, the back of the tendon, or the front of the tendon, actually, the front of that Achilles tendon. So you're better off just going to flat. You don't go into that. Into those positions. Do you know what I mean? So you can kind of work around those things a little bit. Because the treatment of choice for the tendon is a slow, heavy load. That's what they like. It's a relative deload to let it settle, and then it's a slow, heavy load because that stimulates the tendon to strengthen up. So what you guys are doing is kind of what I will teach people to do for tendinopathies. All those movements you have, but it depends how you use it. If you're going very deep into your squats, that's going to put a little bit more compression on with the tensile load into the tendon. If you're suddenly switching from one technique to another, which you love doing. You adore doing that? No. But that's the thing.
Muscle confusion, Terry.
Muscle confusion.
It's the only way to get big.
And tendon suicide.
Yeah, but let's say, even like if you changed, you're saying like you're using different loads, but let's say the way I was
What did you hear me say? Motherfucker, you're about to misquote me. Come on, motherfucker, misquote me. Come on. He does this all the time. He misquotes me back to me. Remember what you said to do this mad shit? Remember you said to rob that bank. Do that.
No, I was saying like if you, let's say, if I changing anything, let's say on the whatever different type of load or whatever fucking change going on, like let's say I won't do singles or triples or even 5 reps. Anybody, let's say, Blessing or that guy, like, trained today. Other dude I have, like, other girl I have, like 2 weeks ago, like they doing like there'll be high reps on anything they do. So load won't be, it's not even submax or max and nothing close to that.
But is the volume quite high then?
Volume be high, but you can't even. I would say with them, I won't say change because they will be in the same similar zone all that time when they're training. It's might be different exercise, but it will be same way. You know what I mean? Like it's still we working on that. Let's say if I doing like drop set like today, it was 30 reps. It's always would be between 30 and 50. Anyway, it's only I adjust the weight and I take it off. I don't let him fail when I need to lift all the time because he's not trained. Let's say his blessing will be a different story. He goes. See, like again, like he tends to stop earlier than he should, so I have to lift a bit because I want to feel out how much he has left in it.
Sure.
But then I drop the weight, going like that. But his whole training, let's say for legs, was based constantly changing stuff around.
And I think for that bodybuilding style, that probably makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Oh, for him,
spreading load onto different tendons, and you're getting the stimulus on the muscles.
You're trying to.
That makes it for bodybuilding.
Let's say, like, look, let's say for as even for legs, like even like today, and normally like on any machines, I don't let them lock. Let's say if it's for quads only, they might lock on the extensions, and leg press, Smith machine, even like that squat machine, or even regular squat. Then I don't want to let them lock ever, but that's only for doing like kind of bodybuilding type of training. It's not strength or powerlifting kind of stuff.
You don't. What's your 1 rep max on the leg extension?
We'll just load it up now and find out.
We're just going to do that
2
now.
blocks, let's check it.
That's why the plates aren't weighted. They just have numbers.
You don't put they're not calibrated.
They should actually say A, B, C, D, E, F.
Actually, that would be the best because they actually the still questions being asked. How much the plate? Who gives a fuck?
If you can lift it, if you can't.
That's people that only never train in another gym ever, because they all feel different. You go to a gym,
I remember one of my first memories of coming in here was I had been up in West Point and I thought I was the king of the leg extension up there. And I came in here and I was like, sure, I used to put it on 20. Holy fuck! 7.
I think it's like
that was the
glued
low
to the
row
bucket.
here. I think that was the low row. Put on the whole thing. Put it right down there. There are no more.
Just like
move that pin there, really. Just can't see too well. Just move that fucker here. But the last thing. So we've got this. We've got that sudden increase in either volume or intensity. Right, that your body's not got a chance to adapt to, which is kind of what you're coming at as well. People starting doing, say, speed work, even, or that kind of thing could be. We've got that compression on the tendon from the mechanics. Now that can be from, again, switching to a more quad dominant squat, more quad dominant movement, and going at that high intensity with that, the heavy weights with that, or doing movements like you're repetitively doing. You've just suddenly started, I'm going to train my calves 4 days a week. I haven't trained, I used to train them 1 day a week, I'm going to train them 4 days a week, and I'm going to go below parallel, and I'm going to just irritate that tendon, irritate that Achilles tendon.
Mean that can tell fucking stories.
That's the thing, and it's those themes. Now, there's one more thing as well, which you won't get as much in here, but it makes sense from your background with the Olympic stuff, and that's those plyometric or heavy, kind of very fast onset eccentric loads, because they really irritate a tendon. Now, your tendon will adapt to them, and the best way to get it to adapt to them is to do lots of strength work. So the tendon is strong enough, it's thick enough to adapt to that. But if you just start doing plyometrics and drop jumps out of nowhere, you used to sprint, did you? So you would have done
it was only ever to do around
CrossFit.
Rugby, like
CrossFit, where middle-aged people do plyometrics. Yes, it's the only fucking place they do it. It's jumping off shit, fucking jumping around shit. Oh, when I do my ACL, why are my tendons all fucking sore? Because you're too fucking old. And I know, I'm too
past
fucking old.
it.
you're not taking your cat liver oil.
No, here's the juice worth the squeeze. You should be vegans. Then you'll be all fine. Be a fucking vegan.
And glucosamine.
Glucosamine.
Yeah, that's
I love glucosamine. It's fucking brilliant, isn't it? There was a thing in the Joe Duffy show today where people were looking for legal cocaine. There was people ringing up looking for cocaine patches, the lidocaine patches. It's the stuff your dentist will numb your teeth with, and it's another kind of placebo-y type thing, although it works at a different pathway a little bit, but it kind of works about the same extent as placebo, to about the same extent with about as many people, and people were freaking out because you couldn't get it paid for. I need my cocaine patches. Of course you fucking do. You like that? Try this shit. It's quite sad, really, because people do anything when they're in pain. You know, that's the problem. You make terrible decisions when you're in pain. Those things there, and just a custom planning stuff out, planning out your load, how you do it. And if you do go into a tendinopathy known, that's grand. I just have to gradually deload off that, and that can help you decide what to deload off. So, for example, you had a hamstring tendon that was getting sore right at that proximal, that one of your ass, just at the bone you sit on there where your hamstring connects. And you did a lot of explosive deadlifting, and that got sore, right?
Yep.
For the thing. So again, how's it now in the last 2 weeks?
Well, it still was like, it was tight, not bad tight as before.
Yeah.
But it took a while.
Yeah, and you've never taken any advice I've ever given you. So pretty much, yeah.
I took 50 kilo plate and I was doing fucking hyper.
That's right, yeah. Which, you did hyperextensions with 50 kilo plate. You meant to do a set of 12, and how many did you get to?
I know, I did a few sets.
Did a few sets. You got to 25, didn't you?
Oh, let's start with 25.
You were showing off, weren't you?
I did one with no weight, then to 25. No, fourth time. That's before.
Fucking showing
week
off.
Before, I was showing up. I did 25.
I love he's honest with himself.
It was look, I think the problem was because I was doing very fast. So it's kind of felt like as a deadlift movement, yeah? So I was gaining everything, all muscles. I mean, it wasn't just like doing hypers for lower back, because on that, 45 degree and all. But because I was going fucking fast.
So every time you drop down, that tendon has to store energy. Now that's great. If you do that just right, that tendon will adapt optimally and get thicker and stronger. You lay down collagen and it'll deal with that, especially because you're backing it up with a slow, heavy load. But if you're doing, I saw your video because you're doing it very fast as well. So if that tendon's not accustomed to that,
that was slower because it was 50. This 25 was faster. Believe me, way faster. Yeah, but that was a thing.
I think I'm seeing a theme emerging.
But just on that, if you're looking for recovery, should you find a movement? So say you're getting pain bench pressing. Should you find a movement that doesn't give you pain, like a similar movement, say you want to build your chest or tricep or something, but doesn't give you pain, and do that instead of?
Yeah, I think that's one way of looking at it. So for a very short term, for a very, very near term, as in a few days to a week, you can back off what was causing the problem. Now, if you can find a way of doing it, if you could do like a board press or something like that, are you allowed to do board presses in here, is it?
Just do the whole thing. Just do a full one.
You could do a full one. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you could do a full one light. You could do a prop bench press light.
But something that doesn't don't feel pain on.
Yeah. So you want to find a stimulus and train around it. Now, the thing is this, there's a little balance to put in here, and we're back to that psychological stuff here. And we knew we were getting there. We knew we were getting there when we started talking about showing off, doing fucking, what are you doing, hypers, doing 45-degree hypers, showing off. What's your one rep max in a 45-degree hyper? More than
with the bar.
With the bar, with the bar.
We did actually as a deadlift assistance exercise,
Yeah. How's that working now?
It was
It's
great.
assisting.
Oh, it was assisting as fuck, yeah. I don't know actually what I had.
It's great one for keeping the back tight as well as
120.
engaging the lower part, of the back. It's just it's pathways, getting the signals going.
I don't think there's such a thing as a bad exercise.
Yeah.
Apart from a box jump for a middle-aged person that doesn't need to sprint. But that's a different story. But I don't think there's a bad exercise. There's no machine or exercise in here I wouldn't do. But it's a question of how are you gonna get to where you want to get with that exercise, and is it worth it for what you're trying to do? So what you're saying is, there's a thing of training around something is great, but if you train around it and then you pick up another thing and train around it and pick up another thing, what happens? Yeah, exactly. Well, so what happens then is, and you see that a lot, that we're engaged in a thing called fear avoidance, where everything starts to get, hurt myself on that machine, I'll never use that again. Hurt myself on, never do that again. You run out of stuff to lift. You run out of lifts to do, and that starts affecting your training, and that starts affecting where your head is at with it. You start to ruminate on it, and that becomes a problem. So confronting it, letting it back off a little bit, and then confronting it again in a reasonable, just a gradually expose yourself to that stimulus. Exactly.
So the majority of the time when people are feeling
psychologically
pain,
and physically. Yeah.
So the majority of the time that people are feeling pain in their joints, we're going to assume, first of all, we're going to say that if you are worried about anything, you would say go see somebody about it. Is the first thing.
I thought you were giving them drugs now.
No, but go
That's
take
what
care
you
of
were
it.
a minute ago.
No, that's what I'm saying.
We were
If you-
talking
if you-
about
I was
joints,
like, if you got
so, like-
pain, I said, if you got
Fair
pain,
enough, isn't it? Yeah.
if you got pain,
Smoke them.
smoke this. No,
It probably
but
will
if
get
it is a
rid of pain for
tendinopathy and
while.
they're having this pain and they think I've injured myself here, realistically, it's just discomfort. It's not something that they're going to do serious damage to themselves or.
At most,
Yeah.
in an environment like this, the vast majority of the time, the only time I'm saying we're talking about patellar tendons, the catastrophic end of a tendon injury, and it tends to be a very high energy thing. So I've seen, fairly serious tendon injuries. It tends to be where you've jumped off a 20-foot wall and tried to land in a quad dominant position.
And just hair straight off.
Yeah,
like.
exactly. People, skateboarders.
Yeah.
They're great for that shit. They're brilliant.
Right.
Yeah, horse ride, people, jockeys, things like that. Stuff like that where you're getting a lot of energy in one go going through it, where it's not. So you're not going to develop that level of force in a mono lift there.
Yeah.
Unless you get a
But
beginner in.
you'll know about it though. Like if you,
Yeah.
if you had a serious injury, you're gonna know about it as opposed to a numbing pain.
It'll
which
creep up on you,
yeah.
And the thing to remember is with those reactive ones, and for most of the age profile in here, that's kind of between your about 15 and your 25 to 30. That's what you're going to get. Very much more painful than when you get to my age, and even you get as old as Vitus. Sorry, bro. He's younger than me.
He's looking for how many reps he did on
I was
this.
trying to get like what the fuck weight I was using, you know what I mean?
But even when you get that, it's a strange thing that when you get, what happens, we get a little bit of tendon disrepair when you get to our age, where the collagen is actually changed and you're missing some filaments of collagen inside and there's little gaps in the tendon. When you look at it under an ultrasound, you can see little gaps in the structure of the tendon. It tends to be much less sore than those reactive tendinopathies. Now, even still, when you get to our age, you can get a reactive tendinopathy layered over that. So the outside of the tendon is swollen and irritated and it's very sore.
Yeah.
And you still have disrepair inside. Now the head fuck is this. When you ultrasound a load of people with healthy knees or with sore knees or with healthy elbows or with sore elbows, you tend to find pretty much similar rates of that disrepair, where you've got those changes and a bit of damage in the collagen in middle-aged people, as you will find in the people. You get the same amounts of injury, physical injury, in people that have pain and people that don't have pain. So not all injuries need to be painful.
Okay,
That's the thing. And just because you have an injury in an ultrasound doesn't mean you're stuck with that for life and it has to be like that. And the treatment of choice is slow, heavy load. Gradual, slow,
So
heavy load.
would it be beneficial for people? When people get into the gym, I remember this was myself. Okay, you come in, you lift, and then you heard about the benefits of mobility training, and then you heard, okay, maybe you should have a speed day, or maybe you should have a day where you come in and you do your foam rolling and all this kind of stuff. And eventually, it got to the stage.
Can I stop you? If you
No,
do
no, hang on, no.
The foam rolling.
No, stop, just stop.
Go on.
Don't worry. These, I'm just talking about these are things that we heard, right?
You're not getting any coke.
So,
Handle that.
eventually it came to the stage that you're going, holy fuck, like I don't have fucking 4 hours and like I can't go to the gym that amount in a week. But would it be beneficial to have, if people just don't think of mobility as just stretching, but to have mobility as also as a kind of finding that exercise that works your particular tendons, to get them into a place that they're storing enough energy but not harming themselves, but adapting.
Can I make a suggestion what that exercise might be?
Yeah.
If you're trying to get your tendons into that right position.
Without hurting yourself,
For
like.
squatting,
Squat.
you might. Now. Or if it was deadlifting.
Yeah, like listen,
Or
okay.
bench press. you see the point? What's going to prepare you to do it is doing the movement or something relatively close to the movement is going to prepare you. Now, the foam rollers drive me fucking crazy. Someone tried to sell me a 1-day course on foam rolling. Well, I got this email in a while ago, and it was like fucking 200 or 300 quid for a 1-day course on foam rolling. And I vomited all over my laptop. Half the day.
Ruined it. You went though. You went and you just tried to sell it to him when he came in earlier.
That's right. Yeah. You
Selling
just
them.
bang
Your
off. You
practice,
smell it as it comes out of the bag. Whoa. What the fuck is that? Tupperware. So what the fuck is that? Yeah, no. That stuff drives me crazy. And the idea of mobility is this. I mean, here's the thing. You'll get pretty much as much mobility. I think someone studied this a few years ago, and I can't bring the reference to mind at the moment. But pretty much you'll get as much flexibility as you need to do squats by practicing squatting. Or pausing. What I like to do for more
you see, I know I sound like it's Captain Obvious saying that, and like it makes me sound a bit thick by saying, "What?" I
think you were saying.
But I can come in and I can squat, or I can bench, or I can deadlift, and I will feel pain afterwards.
Yes.
In my tendons.
Yes.
Because obviously what I'm doing is like putting pressure on them.
Yeah.
But it's continuous, as in they're not getting sore.
Yeah.
So, as in, would it be beneficial to come in and know what the point, like obviously it's you don't know unless you're hooked up to fucking everything and you have scans going on to know what is the right point to go, actually now my tendons are happy now and they're going to benefit from this as opposed to just my muscles. That's what I'm kind of getting at.
So how much is so you're actually developing your tendons as
opposed to so you're coming in and thinking of your tendons and not thinking of your muscles.
Yeah, it's a thing. Now what I'd say is this. On that note, if you're sore all the time when you're training, there's a lot of factors can be involved in that. So there's a lot of stuff from overreaching to overtraining, and that's a thing. That's a thing that can happen as well. Yeah. And can it be a thing that a little deload is required, or can it be a thing that your tendons just get a bit sensitive because they're how many days a week do you squat? Or do
6 or 7?
No, I have 2 leg days.
Yeah,
it's one of the days I'll squat. And I'm doing them just mainly bodybuilding movements.
Yeah.
Because and the thing is, as you were talking about, not going to full extension and everything like that, I tend to do that on my day when I'm not squatting.
And your squat day is, what's your kind of programming look like? I'm getting into programming again. I'm like, fucking hell, what are we doing here? That didn't work out well for me last time. Fuck.
You said you weren't coming back on and now you're back.
He said 5-3-1.
I tend to go to whatever I feel like on the day. If I feel like doing a good triple, or I might go, fuck it, I'm going to go for a heavy single today and then back off with a couple of sets of 5. Yeah. That kind of way. Now, the single is never the same. It's always different. Sometimes it can be 10 kilos less than it had been the week before, but it's just what I feel on the day.
Yeah, so it's by feeling, by instinct and that.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, it's a tricky one to know. It's a tricky one for me to advise you on, seeing as you lift like substantially more than I can lift. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of, so it's a bit of a fucking, asshole move me to come in with my polo shirt with a little crest on it for advanced physio and say, oh, Peter, you need to be on the foam roller for 20 fucking minutes. Be that fucking guy, But I'd suggest that if they're up in that intensity zone year round, is it possible that you could optimize? No, I don't know. This is a question, so I don't actually know the answer to this. Is it possible that a more optimal program would be to go with a lower intensity and do 4 sets of 6, then 5 sets of 5, and work up again, so they get a little bit of break off that very high 90% plus with your 3 or your heavy single? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So they're out of that zone for a month or 2. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if you're getting regular pain in it.
I think you're always going to benefit from taking a step back.
So
in terms of like,
can you still build strength doing 4 sets of 6 or 5 sets of 5 at your 85% or something?
Not big time,
like
yeah. You can, yeah.
So might that be a thought? I don't.
He just wants to come in here and ego lift, though. He just wants to come in here, take his shirt off, fucking lift that weight,
put the white mustache on.
Yeah.
Actually, but that's
have those fucking 45-degree hyper competitions with the 1 rep max.
He has the weight.
Look, got him on there.
It's 100 kilo, yeah. Only 100.
See, here's what you have. You have rationality, or you have fucking.
Look,
you can take your pick.
That's the lift. It's only like
What have you got on the bar there? It's 15s.
It's only 100. 10s, I think, is there.
100s.
But see, like it's because remember I was saying like it's height is wrong. So
do you know if I was never in a gym before, if I just come in here, I think you're a fucking madman. I'm looking at. You should put that up. Can you put that in the video? You look like you're really angry with a bar. That bar annoyed you. You're fucking stupid bar. I'll break you now.
That's okay one. That's a very mild one.
And he's like, what the
That's
fuck?
good form. It's having good form. No, joking aside, it looks like a very good exercise. Yeah.
There's only thing, see, like that's what he's saying at that time. Like, you know, you need to adjust the height of that to get full on bend, because see, like, I have to bend because it's not happening. I mean, you have to bend the arms. Like, I don't want to.
As an exercise, again, you can use that 45-degree hyperextension or back, whatever it is, as an exercise to load up those tendons of your hamstrings and your ass muscles and all that stuff, and promote collagen synthesis, where you lay down a nice, thick, strong tendon. You can use that exercise in that way, or you can use it in a way where you'll piss it off fucking rightly. It's the same exercise. Now, what's the difference between when you go in the gym and you train? That's a great term, the ego lifting, wasn't it? I like that. Like how I robbed that. But between going in training to get stronger or going in training now, I know I've done that before. I'm trying to train near my, at my 90% plus, and it tends to be I'm afraid I'm going to lose the adaptations, whatever strength adaptations I have. So I'm trying to stimulate them all the time. So.
Well, the reason I do it is actually because when I drop back down, it makes the weight that I'm working at feel easier.
Yeah, and it's a lot to be said for doing it.
Yeah.
But if you're sore all the time doing it, and it's getting in the way of your enjoyment of your lifting as well, that's something that you might consider. Now, it doesn't seem to be getting in the way of your performance, is it?
No, not really. No, there's times when I will squat and I'll go, Jesus, my fucking knees or my back do feel it today. Then I'm just like, do you know, I'm not arsed with the pain.
Yeah.
I'm not worried that something's going to happen. I'm just like, oh, fuck it, I'm not worried.
I wonder, is it that thing that you're at that 90% plus or 95% every week? Do you know what I mean?
But you see, the thing is, I don't actually think it is my 90%. Genuinely, like, I don't think it is that. So,
Ian, you'll give us an honest answer. Is it 90%? Sorry.
He trains early in the morning.
he's not here in the morning. I do understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
On that side of things, is that, but I would benefit from taking a little break. But
I don't know. You would. You
gone,
might do. I don't know.
But the thing is that I've recently gone back to start playing rugby, and one of the things I've noticed is that my feet and my ankles go numb when I'm running around the pitch, and I'll be running and then they seize up entirely, and I'm like, I can't feel my feet. I literally can't feel my feet.
Your laces need to be loose.
Oh no, I thought that was the case, and I literally didn't tie my boots, kind of thing, running around. And they do. I get it all in here, all pain in here, kind of same tendonitis.
But if you're heavier,
you know what? Isn't that's very interesting. Sorry,
you're heavier now though than.
Well, that's it.
You're 10 kilo heavier.
Yeah,
Is that
10
going to
kilos
affect?
heavier running around. Like.
So what you're looking at there is you're just pointing to the area behind those bones on the inside and the outside of your ankle, and you have tendons that wrap around there underneath your foot, and you have different nerves and blood supply goes in with that stuff there as well. Now, thing is, as you plant, when you sprint, because you sprint, right, and you're sprinting, or when you, what position you play? Sprint. No, I
waddle.
Yeah, you waddle. Fuck's not mean to yourself. But you like sprint like a good CrossFitter, like a proper CrossFitter, skipping pull-ups and sprints. No, you're sprinting, but you're sprinting so you're not like a walking heel-toe gait. That means you're on your forefoot all the time, driving a lot of force back into the ground as you accelerate forward. So those tendons there are getting a load that they were not used to at all. And it's an explosive load, and they're wrapping around the bones. There's an element of compression involved in it. Do you know what I mean? Why it's no my fuck knows, mate, but listen.
Prowler mightn't help that then.
Well, I find it
well, it's a slow, heavy load, so it might.
There we go.
That's it. When I was doing prowler and I'm digging the toes in, I started feeling it. I feel it in here, down the back. And it makes more sense now to me now. It's just because they literally have not had the load, haven't played in 4 years, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm heavier now, and everything I've been doing is static. And suddenly I'm running around the place. Yeah.
So optimizing the load management is the key to tendons. And most injuries anyway, be it a muscle injury, even be it a fracture to some extent, is managing the load, and so you're getting some load, but it's optimal so the tissue has a chance to go, I'm stimulated, but I'm not fucking dead.
Yeah.